Hello and welcome to Hybrid powered by chinkseyMEDIA. I almost forgot my own channel there. Back again for this week's presser. This time it's the biggest game of the season. I don't think you can get much bigger than a Liverpool and Arsenal fixture. I'm here to analyse and deduce. Bad with words, aren't I? I'm here to analyse and deduce every word from Arteta's pre-Liverpool presser. So without any further ado, Mikel Arteta faced the press ahead of our trip to Anfield to take on Liverpool in the Premier League this weekend. During his press conference at the Sober Realty Training Centre, Mikel gave an injury update on the likes of Bukayo Saka, Kai Havertz and Martin Odegaard, as well as assessing Sunday's opponents. Find out everything he had to say with our transcript below. On Saka's availability, Bukayo is doing better, but he will be out for a few weeks, unfortunately. Well, a few weeks is a pretty ambiguous statement. Obviously, Mikel doesn't like giving specifics in terms of prognoses of injured players. But one thing's for sure, he will be out of the Liverpool game. I've been hearing whispers that he's probably going to be due back in and around September. Whether it's the Nottingham Forest game, I doubt it. If not, hopefully, fingers crossed, he is back for Man City in mid-September. On if surgery is required on his hamstring, no surgery. It's not as bad as the previous one. Very unfortunate to pick it up because it's on the other side. It's an action that requires full power from him. Then he clashes with the opponent. He needs to change pace again, and he felt something, so he will be out for a couple of weeks. So yeah, once again, he reiterates that Bukayo is going to be out for a couple of weeks. Thankfully, one of those weeks includes an international week per se. So he's going to obviously miss the 2 England games. It gives him an opportunity to get a rest, try and kind of recover and be back ready for the Premier League in a few weeks. On if he'll be available after the international break, I don't know. Let's see how he evolves in the next few days and weeks. Repeat the scan and see where he's at. So yeah, Mikel Arteta being very coy, keeping his cards close to his chest. Obviously, wouldn't surprise me if Saka's on the bench for Nottingham Forest. Wouldn't surprise me if he's out for another 2-3 weeks. Who knows? On Odegaard's availability, once again, we don't know yet. He hasn't trained yet, and if he does, it will be tomorrow. He's doing everything he can. We're doing everything that we can to make him available, but we'll have to wait and see tomorrow. Well, more vague statements from Arteta, and obviously tomorrow is after the press conference, so you're going to have to find out from him post-match, and guess what? He is not going to tell you. On if it's serious, no, there's an injury there, but hopefully, if everything goes well, he can cope with it, but we don't know yet. So yeah, don't need to go into that statement. There's nothing there. On how long it will take Havertz to recover from surgery, I think it will be weeks, but I don't know how many months. Very unfortunate. Very sad for him. He did tremendously well to recover from the previous one. He'd never had an injury before, and suddenly this happens. But this is our profession, our football. We need to live with that. We lost another big player for many, many weeks. But the surgery, was the right thing to do. The doctors advised, and I think he was very convinced at the end, that it was the quickest and best way to resolve that issue. So yeah, like I mentioned last week, it's one thing, it's all well and good Havertz never been injured before, but he's been injured before, because the last time was his first time, and now this injury is the second time. But yeah, the main thing is obviously he gets his head down, gets his mentality right, and gets himself in the best shape possible for when he does return, because he's going to have his work cut out getting into that first team, especially if Viktor Gyökeres continues continues to score goals. So he's got off the mark with 2 last week, and he'll be chomping at the bit to add to that tally at Anfield. On losing 3 big players to injury. It's the start of the season and we lost 3 of our main players, but that's the reality. A very unfortunate situation, 3 very different situations. But that's why we keep insisting, like everybody else, you need a big squad to be able to cope and sustain that level. Well, one thing's for sure, Arsenal arguably have the best squad in terms of strength and depth and quality as a kind of ratio. So it's a big opportunity for players like Ethan Nwaneri, Noni Madueke and Eberechi Eze, who is obviously come into the club now, to stake a claim and show what they're made of. I've seen a few polls, basically, in other words, asking who would you rather start for the Anfield game, whether it's Noni on the right or whether Ethan in the centre, which would affect where Eberechi Eze would play, because you would like to think Eze would start that game. So you might go Noni on the right and then Ethan inside him on a right centre mid, with take your pick on the left, whether it's Trossard or Martinelli. Or you might go Ethan on the right, Eze in the middle, and then Trossard and Martinelli on the left. So yeah, there's options there. On White and Nørgaard, that's another 2 that we don't know yet. Again, tomorrow we have another day. Let's see how they evolve, and there's a chance to keep them involved in the game. So White and Nørgaard won't start that game anyway because of Timber's form and because of Zubimendi's form, and the fitness issues. It's just whether to determine whether they'll make the squad or not. So as in a place on the bench. On Eze's first week with us, really impressed with him. I heard a lot of things about him. I spoke to a lot of people about him. Really bright, very special energy, a special aura around him, and he's really willing. He's already gathered a lot of information on the things that we want to see on the pitch, but especially making sure that he has the freedom and the capacity to express his quality, which is the reason why we brought him here. So yeah, Eze's ability is self-explanatory. You just need to watch a couple minutes clips of him to see that this boy has immense talent. He's an exceptional dribbler, got great balance, fantastic shot, great shooting ability, good strength, really sturdy kid. And yeah, on top of that, obviously, he's got a really good character about him, very intelligent, and he's very good at chess. On if he'll go straight into the team, as if he's going to tell you that. We have options in that position, and that's a good thing that we have this year. Let's see, as I said, another day, and I'm not going to give you any clues, obviously. Yeah, like I said, as if he's going to tell you that. But the key 2 words in that statement is this year. So he's essentially saying last year we didn't have strength and depth. Like I mentioned, I alluded to, Arsenal have a very strong squad now, stacked, especially in defence. Midfield's pretty good. But we're losing 3 midfielders, if you like, if you want to call Havertz a midfielder. So let's see what some of the squad players are made of. A big opportunity for certain players to state their claim to start. On how he adds to our ability to be unpredictable. We have a lot of players now that can play in different positions and they can fill gaps when we have them. Looking at the start of the season that we have already had with injuries, that's going to be very necessary. So I'm very happy to have the ability to do that. So I mean, a lot of this is to do with our strength and depth. So I feel like I'm repeating myself here. But it's a big opportunity for certain players to state their claim. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of players he does go in a starting lineup. I think he's gonna go is a difficult one. I think Eze will start. I think Noni Madueke will start on the right. And then it's just a question of whether he goes Trossard or Martinelli on the left, which is a difficult one. It's a really difficult one to call. So yeah, we'll see. Something tells me he'll go with Trossard because of Trossard's ability, because of Trossard's history against Liverpool. And then obviously Martinelli is a good option off the bench with his pace. On if we would prefer to play Liverpool later in the season, it is what it is. We have to play them. They are champions. They are champions for a reason, because they deserve to be champions. They were the better team last year, the most consistent one, the one that found ways to win in many different ways, and we want to be that team this year. We need to go to Anfield with that spirit and that conviction. So yeah, I think Liverpool were certainly the most consistent one. We both lost 4 games. Liverpool might argue that they lost 2 after they won the league, but then we could argue that we lost to Bournemouth because we had our eyes on the Real Madrid game and things like that. We lost 2 games quite early, to Newcastle and Bournemouth before December, and then we lost 2 games after January, which was to West Ham and to Bournemouth. The West Ham one, we got caught on the break. I think, yeah, to summarise, Arsenal and Liverpool both lost 4 games last season. The difference was Liverpool, like Arteta alluded to, were able to break down low blocks where we struggled with that. A lot to do with that was, partially Arteta for the tactics, slow, pedestrian at times, but bad luck was involved in that as well, with injuries, red cards, things like that. And yeah, so anyway, that's last season, but let's look forward to this season. It's clearly not much between Arsenal and Liverpool. The bookies clearly agree with that because they're both 7-4 joint favourites as we speak. But that's Arsenal with Eze and Liverpool without Isak, or without signing another addition to the squad, which I think they need. I think they need 1 or 2 players. I think their squad's slightly light, especially if they're going to lose Harvey Elliott in the coming days to Leipzig, most likely. So this is a big opportunity for Arsenal to go to Anfield, where they haven't won in 14 years, not 13 years. And lay down a statement on what Eze will add to the squad. I think when you are next to him, you are comfortable. He's got a big smile. He picks teams apart. He asks you the right questions and then just let him flow with the ball, and the ability he has to pick passes, to drive past people effortlessly, and just to understand the timing of things. It's very impressive. Yeah, Eze is one of those players that you call a maverick in the nicest possible way. He's just very instinctive. He's got the God-given dribbling ability, which not many players have. I said last week in some of my interviews that he's kind of like Nasri, Joko, with a bit of... I forgot to add, he's a bit JJ Okocha in that number 10 role. Stricto said he reminds him of Yaya Toure with that sheer drive, that power. But yeah, he's gonna be a mesmerizing player to watch, and I can't wait to see him get on the pitch in that number 10 shirt. Whether or not he plays in that position remains to be seen. On if it's a season-defining game against Liverpool, a very important one, and we want to continue building the momentum that we are in right now. Going to those grounds, those stadiums against this kind of opposition is what we want, and coming away from those big games, winning in a really convincing way, that's the objective. Is it season defining? Well, I mean, you might argue it's a bit too early, but what I do think it would do, it will fill the boys with immense confidence if we're able to go to Anfield, the stadium, for so many reasons. 1, we don't really do well there. 2, they're the reigning champions. And 3, we haven't won them 14 years, like I already mentioned. So if we can go there and kind of jab them early, They haven't really played well in the first 2 games, albeit they did get late winners through people like Chiesa and Rio Engamoha, a young man from Newham, coming on to score the winner for them on Monday. But yeah, if Arsenal can go and win there, that would send shockwaves through the league. I don't think it will be a surprise per se, but yeah, over the last few years, I think four draws in a row at Anfield, so something's got to give. Hopefully, they can get the 3 points. On what needs to change for us to win at Anfield this time around? Be better than we've been in those games, more efficient, and do what we've done with many other stats that we had for even longer. Just go there and be convinced that we can go to Anfield and win. Yeah, I mean, a lot of it's to do with belief. I think when we played them, was it in April, May time, we had spells where we were the better team, but like in the last few years at Anfield, both teams have had spells where they're the better team in the game. So you might argue in all those occasions, probably a draw is a fair result. However, Anfield is a stadium where it doesn't take much to get the fans up for it. So we've just got to have our wits about us, be focused, be professional, be determined, have confidence, and go out there and give it our all. On if he's noticed differences in how Liverpool played this season, I think the individual characteristics at the end are what changed. How they use the ball as a team, and it's clear that a certain player receiving the ball in certain areas with different qualities, the outcome is going to be different. They've had a lot of signings, really good signings. They keep evolving the squad like we have done as well. So it's a big match ahead. Yeah, I mean, Liverpool have brought in a lot of pace this season. People like Jeremy Frimpong, who was beat out for that game on Sunday, and Milos Kerkez bring a lot of verve, a lot of pace, a lot of thrust, attacking vivaciousness down the lines, give them width. And then obviously people like Florian Wirtz give them quality, good touches, can bring people into play. Number 10, a lot of the top sides have brought in a number 10 this summer. Tottenham have it looks like they're going to sign Xavi Simons, who's been at Barcelona, PSG. And then obviously Hugo Ekitike, exceptional player, a lot of quality, good sharp first touch, amazing finisher, young, impressionable, confident, talented. So yeah, they've obviously all these players have come into their starting lineup effectively, so it's half the team that's changed. So obviously, yeah, like Arteta said, the characteristics of Liverpool will change as a result, because someone like Frimpong is completely different to someone like Trent. On if we targeted players like Gyökeres and Eze, who could be good for transitions, we have to add players who add value to things that can define football matches. And with those two, they have the ability at the end to make the final action in many ways, to finish with the ball in the back of the net, which is the outcome that we want in every action that we have in our attacking phase. And those two, they're going to add these individual actions, magic moments, and that's what we need to win games. So yeah, once again, this remarkable buzzword in transition, which is on the counter-attack, effectively means just your efficiency when you win the ball off the opponent. Efficiency and speed in essence, really. So people with speed, pace, good dribbling ability. So people like Madueke, Wanyeri, Saka, Martinelli, Gyökeres all have pace. So in this transition word, as they say, should be really real threats. So obviously Liverpool do leave a lot of spaces. I doubt they'll play like that against us, but then again, Arne Slot, he's got that thing about him that we're going to play our way no matter who we play kind of thing. And it is what it is. They'll believe that they have the quality to outscore any opponent they play. So it'll be interesting to see Arsenal play a team that would not really show us respect as we're used to on a weekly basis. So that's why this game could go anyway, really. So I think the neutral will probably go a draw. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what tactics Arteta does go with, whether he tries to go toe-to-toe or show Liverpool a bit of respect. But he's no reason to have to do that. Obviously, you do respect Liverpool as the champions, as a team that, finished 10 points above us last season. However, we've started the season with 2 wins as they have, and I don't think he should have any real reason to not think we can go there, play our game, and emerge victorious, emerge the victors. On if he worries about keeping everyone happy with the depth we have now, no. I think the word is that I care that everybody is as happy as they possibly can be. That's a big part of my job. Our job at the end, to make sure that every player feels that he's fulfilling his potential and he's doing what he loves the most, which is to play football. So far with the squad that we have and the 5, 6, 7 injuries that we already have, we haven't had many problems making a squad. But with everybody available, that will be a different scenario. But we're going to have to live with that, and that's why the competition is going to raise the level for everybody. So yeah, I mean, I think it's clear Jakub Kiwior's had a good opportunity to go to Porto, and it's great that we've actually, in my view, and I'm sure in many people's views, have actually upgraded our depth for Gabriel Martinelli with someone like Piero Hincapié, who obviously is Bayer Leverkusen starting left centre half in the back three. So that's a good essentially 1 in 1 out kind of thing. So you're not really losing depth there, and you're actually upgrading your quality. Jakub Kiwior obviously has an opportunity to start for Porto in the Portuguese league. Wish him all the best. Obviously the deal is not complete as of yet, but it will get done, barring something crazy. But yeah, I'm sure that will be done, and I expect Hincapié to come in as depth for Gabriel. So yeah, when Gabriel needs a little rest or a breather, let's say in a cup game or 1 or 2 games here and there, we're not really losing quality. On if Martinelli could leave, no. I think Gabby has been a super important player for us, and he's going to remain very, very, very important. The fact that we have options with different qualities, that's going to fulfill what we want, because every opponent is going to require different things, and then the state, the moment, the way that those players are impacting the game, that competition is needed. We have him in many other areas of the pitch, and he's needed, especially in the front line, to start the game and finish the game. So I'm very happy with what we have. Well, I mean, he mentioned very 3 times, so I think it's fair to say Gabriel Martinelli is not going to be sold in this window. But obviously, form's been a very big issue with him over the last, call it 12 to 18 months. He's got to definitely improve if he wants to remain an Arsenal player in the medium to long term. However, right now he's probably going to have to fight for his place with the likes of Noni Madueke and Leandro Trossard, really proving to be fierce competition for him. On if Liverpool are the favourites to win the league, I think the favourite is always the one that won the previous year, and that's it. Somebody has to come and take that crown away from them, and that's what I suppose the rest of us are going to try to do. We've already started with the first 2 games in the Premier League, and that's the aim, to be better than them. Well, we've got to watch out for Chelsea and Man City for me. I mean, I know Man City did lose last week, but they've got immense quality, technical players of the highest technical ability there is, and Chelsea just look like a hungry young side driven by people like Moises Caicedo, Cole Palmer, and they're building a good spine there, obviously, now with João Pedro looking like he's doing well as well. So I mean, for me, Chelsea, the dark horses, not only for the Premier League but for the Champions League as well. On if Saka's hamstring injuries are a concern, yes it is, obviously a big one, especially when we talk about a sprinter, a player that gets into that zone very often in a football match, that needs that burst, that change of rhythm, of pace to be as threatening as possible. We'll learn again why it happened and make him stronger. Unfortunately, injuries are part of your career. He hasn't had that many, to be fair, with that amount of games that he's played at his age. That is something that we want to eradicate for sure. Well, yeah, Saka is going to be 24 next month. He might be 24 by the time he next plays. But, yes, slightly concerning. He's had a hamstring injury. However, injuries part and parcel of the game. I think it's just important that when he does come back to be fearless, to make sure he doesn't rush himself back, just to be fearless and play the game that he wants to play and not have second thoughts and think, oh, I might get injured. I think that's the key. Your mental fortitude, your mental state of mind. So as long as that's right, as long as he doesn't come back too soon than when he's needed, then I don't think it should be an issue, because he's a young man. He's obviously approaching his mid-20s now, and the players respect him, and for me, he's our third captain. I mean, I don't really want to order it who the four names obviously are that captain aside. Pick who you may as the captain: Declan Rice, Gabriel, Odegaard and Saka. They're the four leaders in the team. I'm not getting involved in who should be the captain. On the subject of captains, on who is in the leadership group since Jorginho left, there are a few. I think at some point it will come out. There are a few players, a few names. I'm very happy with the outcome and the way it was done as well. I think it's a very good reflection of the group. Yeah, so I alluded to that just now. But yeah, for me, I think the most respected player in the squad is clearly Saka. Every player has, for whatever reason it is, whether you respect how he carries himself as a man, you respect his ability as a player, or you respect his, I don't know, his faith with God. People like Timber, Eze, Saka, they've got that kind of same realm with their relationship with God. However, Saka, because he's come from the team, what he's done, how he carries himself, I think all those aspects make him the most respected. Closely followed by people like Declan Rice, a leader of men. His attitude, his charisma, his fight, his quality, all of those qualities give him respect from his Arsenal teammates, his compatriots. And then obviously Gabriel, he's an enforcer. He gives everything. He's improved immensely. You know, he'll put his head where it hurts. He's our kind of Nemanja Vidic, John Terry type cult hero. So that gives him, brownie points in the captain's, who's to be captain. And then obviously, finally, last but not least, you got Martin Odegaard, a current captain, and in Arteta's words, won the vote by a country mile. So for a reason, Odegaard draws respect, quality, immense quality football, a footballer of immense quality. He's been playing football for over 10 years now, started when he was 15, 16. He's been at the top clubs, Real Madrid, had a stint at Sociedad, been at Arsenal now, knows the club inside out, a well-respected member of the club, and I don't see no reason at this moment in time to depose him of the captaincy. So, yeah, I think those four are the main ones, and you probably got another few involved in there. You might see Eze involved in the leadership group as a 27-year-old Premier League experienced player. Speaking of Eze, on if Eze is a throwback to players like Cazorla and Rosicky, yeah, they have a different feel of the ball. Everything glides and moves so smoothly. They are beautiful to watch. The way they carry the ball, the way they take touches, the way they turn. Eberechi for sure has got this talent. Yeah, he's a throwback Arsene Wenger type Arsenal midfielder where we had loads of these type of players like Alexander Hleb, Tomas Rosicky, Jack Wilshere, Samir Nasri. We had loads. We were stacked with these type of players. And obviously we lacked creativity for a few years, but it's amazing to have a player like Eze back in the squad. So that's that. That was my I've gone blank. Yeah, so yeah, that was my analysis of Arteta's pre-match presser of Arsenal versus Liverpool at Anfield Sunday. So yeah, once again, guys, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, and click this link for another fantastic video on hybrid powered by chinkseyMEDIA. Signing out.